And I'm coming to you live this morning from Del Rio, Texas, the site of the massive influx of migrants from Haiti that were camped under the bridge behind me just last month. Agents I've spoken with say that this area could see a similar surge as cartels like to flood specific spots in order to draw resources away from more sparse areas, distract the border agents so that they have to tend to that, and then the cartels use that open space to get drugs and human trafficking in. Attorney General from Texas, Ken Paxton, and I got a bird's eye view of the area with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
This is the Rio Grande right here. Most of the crossings that we've been seeing starts happening about right here all the way down to the POE. Mexico's, 100 feet that way, and we're right on the line. So this is all Mexico. And on this side of the river is the U.S. Here's the border wall. You can see the gaps in the wall. So this little wall has been here for a while. That big wall is the one that started when President Trump was in office. And then you can see it's just not done.
So right over there, across here, is all Mexico.
That's all Mexico. So if you look down in the river, you can actually see the trail. They have actually wore a trail in the river bottom coming across.
Yeah, I see it. You see it, Maria?
Yes. How wide is the river over here?
80 feet maybe. But you can see it's only, it's shin deep.
Typically, you'll see migrants coming across more so in the morning?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's because they want to get an early start. It's so hot in Texas, you don't want to be moving during the day.
We're crossing over the Del Rio Bridge, which is the spot where 15,000 Haitians gathered for a week in September.
This is another huge crossing point. See that great big path in the river? They had school buses bring them down here. They'll go across that path, and then they'll walk up this road right here. And then Border Patrol had Greyhound buses, but I don't see them now. And they'd pick them up right over here. 5-6 years ago, we were chasing them and chasing with Border Patrol on foot. Now they just, we just call them, hey, you got 50 down here waiting. Because they're not running.
Right, they're coming, they're turning themselves in.
This river cane that you're seeing here looks like a sugar cane. Most of that's about 12 foot tall.
Oh.
They try to keep it mowed down because you can literally put 100 people in that cane and you can't see them.
How often are you finding people hiding in the sugar cane?
They'll call it a brush up, or they'll come across, they'll change their clothes, get dry clothes, and they'll wait. And then they'll cross these drag roads that you're seeing, all these ranch roads, and try to make it to the highway to get picked up.
How far is the first highway, would you say?
That's US 277 right there.
How far do you think that is?
Probably 4 miles, I bet.
So they'll cross the river and then just walk the 4 miles and meet a car, perhaps waiting for them.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the biggest numbers in terms of the biggest groups that you've encountered?
I've had 50, 100, stuff like that. A lot of 20s. But out here, the groups that you'll see out here, these are the ones that are going to run. They don't want to get caught for whatever reason. But out here, it's usually 10s and 15s.
I mean, if they see helicopters, they'll go hide, right?
Yes and no. The ones that want to just turn themselves in, I've been flagged down by them before. I've been flying along, and they'll stand out in the middle of the road and wave a T-shirt to flag us down. And then the ones that don't want to get caught, they're going to crawl up underneath a tree and wait for us to fly over and keep on going.
Do the Mexican cartels stay on the Mexico side?
I think so, yes, ma'am, for the most part. They're kind of like travel agents. They're taking the money and bringing them here and dropping them off. And, you pay them, they get the coyote, and they bring you across.
Are you expecting another caravan on the way?
Last I heard was 60,000 on the way. And we're looking for groups. The ones that are turning themselves in, we're not concerned with as much as the ones that don't want to get caught.
How many gotaways would you estimate have gotten away this year?
Oh, I would, a lot.
Hundreds of thousands?
Probably.
AG, how much worse has this gotten from your standpoint over the last several months?
Well, the numbers keep going up. It's continuing to get worse. It's got obviously a massive influx once Biden became president, and then those numbers just keep growing. We had our worst year up to September 1st is the fiscal year for the federal government, the worst year we've, I think, ever had. And that I think next year will be worse.
And joining me right now is the president of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Brandon, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. I was so happy to be able to spend time with you the last time we were here in McAllen, Texas. Assess where we are after.
Well, first off, I'm very disturbed that you're here. I'm grateful that you're here, but I'm disturbed by that. The fact is you've been here on multiple occasions. You've come here to study the actual issue. Where's Vice President Harris? She's the border czar. She's the one that's supposed to be here learning about everything that goes on. She's the one that can put pen to paper. Yet you're the one that's here informing the American public of exactly what's going on. That should disturb every single United States citizen. So, again, I'm grateful that you're here, but this needs to be Vice President Harris. She's the border czar.
My team and I have been here now 3 times. We went to El Paso, we went to McAllen, now we're here in Del Rio, and I just see this expanding. Yeah. Do you think it's expanding?
No, I know it's expanding. So what the cartels normally do is they'll hit us in vulnerable locations, and as those locations start to get more resources, they'll move. So what we saw in McAllen, we saw an awful lot of people in McAllen. As resources start to get flooded in McAllen, they start moving out west. Now they're hitting us in Del Rio, and there's a good reason for it. They know darn good and well that the infrastructure just isn't available here, so it becomes a very vulnerable location. But as we slowly start to send more resources, then they work their way out to Arizona, Yuma, and that's where we're seeing huge problems right now is in Yuma, Arizona.
Tell me about Yuma. What kind of arrests are you making in Yuma, Arizona?
So just between September 19th and September 25th, we had over 5,000 arrests, 5,400 arrests in a very small sector. This isn't a large area, kind of like McAllen or Del Rio. This is a very small area, 5,400 arrests. And what's scary about that is we're talking about people from Romania, Russia, Bangladesh, Armenia, different countries that harbor ill will towards the United States. Yet that's what we're seeing coming across the borders.
We were watching videos of some of the people that were arrested, and a lot of them, I mean, you've got some gangs have tattoos that indicate they're part of a group, right? Mm-hmm. So is that a red flag when you see somebody with certain patchwork, like the whole body of tattooed? And I'm not poo-pooing tattoos. I like ink, but I'm saying when there are certain red flags that you see, so that's a gang member, right?
There's certain ink in certain spots. Intelligence.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we have to look for indicators. We have to look for those things that would tell us that this person is coming here to do us harm, or this person is coming here for the illegal trade that exists in the United States. And so, yeah, we've always got to be careful for that, and we see it all the time.
So I've learned so much just in this short period of time for this trip. Another thing I learned that the partners of some of the Mexican cartels are American citizens.
They are.
The smugglers are helping the cartels, and they live in America. They become the getaway cars. Tell me about that. So the vast majority of the vehicles that we pull over, when we make a vehicle stop, when there's probable cause to believe that an illegal activity is taking place, specifically illegal smuggling, when those vehicles are pulled over, we're finding that the vast majority of the individuals that are transporting these people are United States citizens. Wow. Right now in Arizona, Arizona DPS is doing a great job of what we call knocking down these smuggling loads. And we're finding that, again, that the vast majority of these vehicles are being driven by United States citizens. So let's talk about that for a second. So you've got American citizens who want to make a buck. Mm-hmm. They see the advertisements of the Mexican cartels on TikTok, on Snapchat. Talk about that. Tell me. So they say, Mexican cartels need my help to be a getaway car. They see it on TikTok. They come and they do a deal with the cartels. So not only do these criminal cartels go into other countries to advertise their services to smuggle people here, they're also advertising, looking for help wanted, if you will. They put the help wanted ads out. United States citizens respond to those help wanted ads, and it's a very lucrative business. That's why so many United States citizens are getting involved in this. But not just that, they also have scouts here in the United States. They will have scouts camped out on mountains watching Border Patrol agents
watching the movement of the agents, noticing when there are gaps in our coverage, and that's when they hit us really hard. And then they use United States citizens on the back end to smuggle these people into the United States.
That's incredible. So just to point out, TikTok is a Chinese company.
Yeah.
China owns TikTok, and they're using TikTok a lot to advertise their services. They're charging what to the people who want to get into America? Is it $10,000 a head? And then how much are they paying the American citizens that are becoming their getaway cars?
It strictly depends on where these individuals are coming from. If you use a very conservative estimate, if you're coming from Mexico, Central America, you're paying about $4,000 per person. But if you're coming from China, you're paying anywhere between $35,000 to $50,000. And what's scary about that is, look, I have a very good job. I don't have $35,000 laying around, let alone $50,000. If these people are smuggled here into the United States, they're going into indentured servitude here. It's a form of slavery that is taking place, and that's what these criminal cartels are trafficking in. But what's most upsetting about that, it's liberal policies that are allowing these cartels to make so much money, and these liberal policies are allowing these people to go into indentured servitude, yet the Democrats say that they care about people.
Unbelievable. They also said that they care about COVID, and they're not testing COVID on a federal level. Is that right?
No, they don't. They don't. So anybody, well, let's make a differentiation. If we're holding people in custody, they will be tested for COVID. But if we're releasing them, nobody's being tested for COVID. So this is being spread throughout the United States.
Unbelievable. I ran into, I was embedded with one group yesterday, and we ran into a group who came across, they were apprehended, and one guy told me he paid $8,000. I asked him, how much did you pay the cartels? He said $8,000. And then another guy said, are these two your daughters? And it was like they were shell-shocked. I could tell they were not a family.
No,
but he was making believe that these two young girls were his daughters.
We've seen that. We've seen that before. And, you know, President Trump did a great job. When we recognized that that was taking place, he employed rapid DNA tests so that we could try to weed out who's recycling these children, who's bringing these children across, just take them back, stick them with other adults to be recycled. It's insane what these cartels will do to people.
Unbelievable. Brandon, thank you for your service. You're doing such a great job on the front lines, and I know that that requires courage, and it's got to be scary. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Brandon Judd joining us there.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.